Oh, hey, we just went live, or we just started the TF. Cool. Hi, hello, welcome. We were just talking about legally distinct Gambit over here. And that got us all kind of reminiscing a little bit about, you know, things we saw. Ninja was like, yo, the amazing bulk. Ryu Long is like, Canadian badger-like carnivores and arachnid men. But you know what I really remember? It was right when, right after Watchmen came out as a movie. So this is what, like 2010 or something? And you would go into Atlas Park and there would just be like 10 dudes standing around named some variation of like Dr. Blue Penis. It's like, guys, come on. Come on. Man, I'm amazed the studio let Mr. Snyder get away with doing that. Come on, everybody, huddle up on me. Let's go. Okay, they're all mezzed and stuff, so I need to get it to the next mob, just like this. Plus, we do have a second tank here. 3 tanks and a brute. Yeah, there's no problem with aggro on this team. Long says, found that very aesthetic anime theme song in your library. Well, okay. Well, hopefully it's a good one. Brute, 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 says Ninja Weasel, who has never left Brute Lock. I think it went pretty bad for the Brute, actually, Ninja. Was it doing it wrong then? Yeah, it sure seems to be. Well, Onyx Mantis can get himself up off the floor whenever. We have other fish to fry. And by fish, I mean vampires. And by vampires, I mean super soldiers who drink blood or whatever it is they do. Onyx, get yourself up, dude. Look at that. I just had to yell at him, and he got up. I am clearly the leader of this team. I am the motivational speaker, the person who makes it happen. Now they just need to lose it. Well, that person's okay, because that's the Stalker. They didn't die. It was this other dude who died. Alright. One mission down. If I didn't have Slayer, I probably would have got pretty far to it right there. Man, those are some good hot fries. I think I got a video somewhere where I do like a taste comparison between like handicap hot fries, which used to be the dope stuff, man. And then Chester's hot fries. And then they were like, were they like Buffalo Wild Wing hot fries or something? I don't know. I don't remember what the last one was, but like I did like a comparison between them, and it was like, wow, the Chester's hot fries actually are the dope ones. Which I'm just gonna say seem kind of weird to me. Hello, boys. I see bad guys, I run into bad guys. Oh, sweet, we got a Kin on the team. Also, the leader's like up in the difficulty for whatever reason, and I don't know why you would do that. At lower levels, it's faster XP not to do that most of the time. It's a Japanese brand called Karamucho. Caramouche, and you do the fandango. Thunderbolt and lightning, very, very frightening me. Hot fries, hot fries, hot fries. Oh. They can finish off that boss. There's nothing that way. Let's go this way. I remember one time, the thing was on live, I was doing a Moonfire, and we had an energy blaster who knocked one of the werewolves through the wall. So we had to restart the task force. Okay, Paragon Titan seems pretty tough. Must also be a tricked out tank. Somebody else can get that glowy. What brilliant plans I have. Let's have hot fries shortly before bedtime. Last time you did the labyrinth, the Minotaur spawned in the ceiling! Ah! Oh, that sounds miserable. Hello, friends. Come punch me. No, I totally... You didn't have to explain further. I totally pictured exactly the situation you're talking about. This TF seems to be a competition between me and Paragon Titan about who can get punched the most. I like it. And there's Silver Bullet. Well, you would know a lot more about that particular piece of content than I would, because I don't know anything. So you could tell me whatever you want, and I'm probably just going to believe you. You'd be like, yes, and the Minotaur is purple until somebody with a green costume comes along and uses the green beam on him. Oh my god, they upped the difficulty to +4. Sweet, merciful Aunt Jemima. Oh right, it's the Ring of People, or it's Stephanie Peoples. That's right. Bum 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 bum. The Dimensional Ground Beef Ray. Yeah. Pew 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 pew. Pew 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 pew. Beat Archon Fontaine and his men, rescue a bunch of hostages. Alright, well, not a problem. I mean, this might hurt, but it's not a problem. Well, those charges never go away, so unless you use them up, you're just stuck with them forever. Forever, ever. Oh, no wonder Onyx kind of got, like, roughed up a little bit by a spawn. Yeah, Will can be rough when you're facing a bunch of exotic damage, like Dark and stuff. So that totally explains what happened with Onyx. You know, I've made a couple staff characters over the years, and not one of them has ever really kind of gelled with me as a character. Or I give it to the guy, multi-boxing and excelled, and just always an Oro. Oh, nice. He sounds like a nice guy. Yeah, see, Onyx Mantis is doing a lot better when he doesn't have, like, a full mob of exotic damage hitting him at the same time. That's rough for any tank. Invuln is probably the best to absorb that outside of, like, for Darks being, like, you know, Dark tank or whatever. Attack feels insubstantial. Yeah, I know. You do all this fancy stuff, right? And then you're just popping dots over people's heads. It never feels like you land a big hit. Oh boy, that Sentinel is having a fun time over there. We'll go ahead and get into the next mob. Haha, me and Paragon Titan both did. I should play the new sets that I haven't played yet. Like the Symphony Control and revamped Elec. I haven't played that. Although Electric Blast was never my favorite. And I don't think the way the sap mechanic works is going to change my mind on that one. Although maybe I'd like it if I was a Corruptor. Because then I'd also be like, hopefully, like ticking off Scourge at the same time. Although, you know, I tell you, my attempts to utilize Scourge to make weaker blast sets feel strong has never gone well. I had a Dark Ken. And even after Fulcrum shifting, that character never seemed like it did enough damage. Actually, you know what might be fun to make? Bring back my Electric Earth Dominator. The whole thing is completely at cross purposes with each other, because Earth is like dropping dots everywhere, right? The whole point of like Electric Domination is you get that AoE sleep. So the whole thing just does not function. But it worked beautifully. It was some of the most fun I've had on the Dominator, man. I just played it like a scrapper. And I went around and I punched people with rocks while they were like shaking, having little seizures or something. What a jerk I was. Let's look at this adjutant over here. I think that Archon is not getting killed. Well, it's pretty close. Bam! Got him. Alright, I'm out. Scourge trick against Giant Bag's HP is great. Against minions and LTs isn't that big of a deal. I know. Oh, I know. I was just saying, man, my attempts to be like, oh yeah, Scourge will help save the day. Yeah, that never worked out. Okay, well, City Heroes eschews like the conventional triad, right? There's no, like, you don't really tank, DPS, heal. In fact, the best teams in City Heroes don't really heal at all. But if you have to start like assigning like traditional roles like that to city heroes, it's kind of like the way people actually play them. Tanks and brutes are obviously the tanks. Other people can also do that job, but like they're the main ones. Then DPS, you've got stalkers, scrappers, blasters, and honestly dominators. Their primary purpose is like to do DPS stuff. And then you have like the heal, and that's in quotes, and that would be corruptors, and that would also be defenders and masterminds too. But there's a lot more nuance to the different archetypes in City Heroes than that. Like, if you want the thing that's the least likely to die on a team, you get the tank. If you want the thing that can almost tank as well as a tank, you get the brute. If you want, like, the crazy person that wants to just go punch everybody in the face, you get a scrapper. There's actually... Hold on, let me get a notepad. The way they work too is there's a little bit of like blending between heroes and villain side. So hero side, you've got like the basic trifecta. I got to lay this out right. Let's see. It's tank, defender, blaster, scrapper, controller. Okay, hold on. I'll come back to this in a second. Where's Todd at? Did we not get teleported to Todd? Why would you not just teleport us right to her? Okay, well, whatever. So you got that. This is... Oh. Sorry, I need to pay attention to the TF. I'm over here trying to take, like, notes for what I want to say here in a second. She's here. Great. Why were we not just teleported upstairs? Because now the team is strung out fighting stuff upstairs and downstairs. Probably left and right, too. I'm just gonna pick up all this aggro. Oh, I got these in the wrong order. That's the problem. This is Scrapper. And this is Controller. Okay, hold on. I've laid my wheel out completely wrong. So... You know, guys, I got a whole bunch of aggro over here. Y'all are gonna have to fend for yourselves for a minute, or come up, help me deal with this aggro. I'm so glad they decided to turn the difficulty up. Isn't that wonderful? I mean, it's fine for me. Everybody Everybody else are the ones kind of suffering. You still teleport Todd out? Yes, you can. Thank goodness. Okay. Hold on. Let me start my notes over, because I whiffed these as I was scribbling them, because I was distracted with the combat. Anyway, like, City Heroes doesn't fit on, like, the standard triad that most MMOs do. Like, if you play World of Warcraft, SWTOR, any MMO... In fact, any MMO made after World of Warcraft follows it pretty heavily. God, I've just my brain is just blanking on archetype names. Oh, there we go. Are we just fighting through? Oh, it is a defeat all. My bad. Why did I think this was not a defeat all? Not that this team seems to need me, man. This team is doing pretty good. Except for like when AoEs and stuff hit, which are just melting all the squishy people. Alright. Well, which way are we going, team? Apparently we're going this way. Fine by me, I like this way. This way looks good. No, hero and villain archetypes are not inverted. Villain archetypes are rotated from hero archetypes. I'll explain in a second exactly what I mean. I'm like trying to prepare the visual to show it to you so I can explain, while also trying to, you know, do a little bit of tanking on this team so that nobody dies any more than they already are. And that is totally the wrong thing. Well, let's lock my freaking trays. There. Did I just see somebody in the room? No, I saw somebody through the room. Okay, that's different. Okay. Oh, it's a freaking Archon. bum, 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 bum. Sorry I'm not so talkative right this second. Y'all got my brain working. And that's okay. Another freaking Archon with a bajillion HP. Ugh. Okay, next room. Oh, they're doing it that way. Okay. Are there enemies that way? Oh, yeah. Duh. I'm a lame-o. Okay. Alright. Alright. Come on. Another AoE pop. Nope, I laid those out wrong. Dang it, I did it again. I drew it wrong the same way a second time. I think I'm too tired to be having, like, deep thoughts. That's okay, we're gonna keep having them anyway. And if people don't like that, oh well. Little Galaxy dude, you shouldn't be back here. You should be getting killed by the rest of the team. Well, you know, when you're a tank for you long, the aggro just comes to you sometimes. That's called super tanking. That's called super tanking. Not everybody can do it. Not everybody can do that. You got to be very good at what you do. Is that all? There seemed to be patrols or something in this map, yeah. So that wasn't all. We gotta go hunt down the little patrol. Oh wait, it's one dude over here? Where? There he is. It was not a patrol. It was in fact a runner. Hi guys. Whoa, 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 why can't I move? Why can't I move? There we go. I got stuck in the terrain or something. Anyway, let me flip over to the camera for just a second here. So, this is kind of how things map out between the two sides. The only one that doesn't really fit is Corruptor, because that's really like a Defender and Blaster. So, it's kind of fuzzy on that point. But like all the other ones, like a Mastermind is actually a Tank Fender, because that's what Masterminds do. They were intended to be the tank in City of Villains, not Brutes. Brutes were intended to be the Scrapper. Stalkers were intended to be like the damage dealer, like a blaster. So they took pieces of each of these archetypes and kind of mixed them together with the guy next to it to make the next class. The only one that doesn't really fit are Corruptors. So they're not really inversions. They're like blends of the different things. Stalkers are the fragile damage dealer. What are blasters? The fragile damage dealer. Stalkers just do it in melee instead of at range. Dominators are controllers that do a lot of damage instead of having buffs. Like that's kind of how I like put all this stuff together in my head. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm a little crazy. But that's how I think about the different villain archetypes. Corruptors are obviously like blast fenders, right? But okay. Honestly, except for Scourge, there's not that much difference between Corruptors and Defenders. Sentinels don't count. They're not an original archetype. Sentinels are homecoming bullcrap. They're, what if we took blasters, like we took a different approach on combining blasters and sentinels, or blasters and scrappers. They're the same blend that Stalkers are. They're just ranged instead of melee. I've had 3 sentinels. No, 4 sentinels, and I don't know that any of them were actually all that great. Like, I'll just be honest. My energy sentinel plays fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with it, but it doesn't do anything I couldn't do with other characters. And during the development of Sentinels, they went back and forth on what the like inherent should be so many times. I don't even know what their inherent is supposed to be anymore. Do they even have one? Yeah, well, what does Sentinel's Ward do? Sentinel's Ward used to do different things than it does now. So you just saying they have Sentinel's Ward doesn't actually mean anything to me. All they really need to do was let Sentinels crit, and they would have been just fine. Because the Sentinel Inherent used to be... it used to be like a... It was like a clicky power that you had in your tray that lowered the enemy's defense or something like that at one point. Vulnerability lets Sentinel periodically render an enemy vulnerable to damage from their entire team and reduce its resistance, control powers, and debuffs. You know, guys, you shouldn't fight stuff upstairs. Bring it down here onto the flat ground, where there's no terrain problems. Yeah, this is because they changed, like, they have changed what Sentinels do. So I'm not surprised that the wiki's inconsistent. That seems very on brand for Sentinels. What is even left up there that you guys are fighting? I think all Sentinels needed to make me happy with Sentinels is like a 5% chance to crit. And I would have been like, these are great. Alright, let's just get over here and start aggroing everything. Alternatively, they could just let Sentinels be surviving, like survivable. Yeah, that's like the active version that I was talking about, where you actually click on a power, and then it drops like a minus resist or something on the enemy. There was also a brief period of time, I'm pretty sure, where Sentinels had like some kind of buff they could also give people. But I could be like hallucinating that one. Wow, immobilizing. That is so much immob coming my way. It's Task Force Comet! Kill them quickly! How about no on that, Archon Salvatore? If that is your real name. And I think it actually probably is. So it sounds like what you're reading for opportunity is they just took bruising off of tanks and gave it to Sentinels. Like, that's what that sounds like. You punch people and they get a minus resist. Like I said, I have not been particularly impressed by any of the Sentinels I've done. Although one of them was a really silly build, because it was Pistol's Dark Armor. And its whole thing was, what did I do? I think I slotted it so it could stun people better. Like something real goofy like that. So maybe that one's not a good choice. Plus, dual pistols is kind of an anemic damage set to begin with. You leave the sommelier alone. Oh, I'm sorry. The sommelier. Right, XLG? Sommelier! That's everything like you're an angry German and you can't go wrong. Alright, beat up council. No problem. Where are we at? Oh! Got some council right here. Look at that. Every like City Heroes server out there has its own epic archetype, or like its own special thing that sets them apart. Like, doesn't Thunder Spy have a whole bunch of weird stuff on it? Like, I remember somebody telling me that they had like a power set that was like Doll Sim, where you like stretch attack people like Mr. Fantastic, which frankly that's pretty fantastic and should definitely be in the game. Oh lordy. Oh my goodness, that's a chunky raid. Hello. Phoenix 20130. With you and your beautiful. Why am I running? I could have just teleported there. I could just teleport there and say we're running. That's okay. We can run if we want to. We can leave our friends behind. And if your friends don't run, then they can't pun, and they're no friends of mine. Thank you so much for that raid. Knowing you were probably playing City of Heroes. So I hope you had a pretty good time. We're probably going to be winding down after Arakan here. After ITF and MLTF? That's nice. You know, I'm kind of over master badges. I had them all. I had all the ones that existed on live. I'm good. But you know, it's nice that you can have fun with that. I remember I did like a 5-star Lady Grey. That was an experience. But yeah, I'm just down here tanking one of 3 tanks on this very silly Moonfire that I joined just to get werewolf kills. And boy, do we have werewolf kills. Or 4-star, whatever. I did the hard one on a character, and I was like, oh, this is neat. The giant monkey fight was very silly. That's all I remember from it, was giant monkey fight equals silly. I think I went on like a 2-star ITF one time, but that was a while back. God, I can't believe this dude like has his fighting plus freaking 5s on this team. Like, who does this on a Moonfire, man? I'm just salty because I miss, and the team, everybody on the team that's not a tank, kind of melts. Anytime there's even like a hint of stray aggro. Like, it's gotta suck to be the stalker over here, because he's died a few times. Lily slope or icy slowpoke here. Slow people, can't give you that. Okay, well, I tried. Where's Arakan? I didn't think I'd be spending quite this much time on Moonfire, I guess is my point. But despite that, despite the fact that we're fighting +4s and +5s, because we got the difficulty like maxed out, we're still rocking pretty solidly through all this stuff. So we're a pretty nasty team. This Paragon, I think that might be the first time I've actually seen him get hurt. What hit him? Oh, did he just run out of end? I think he just ran out of endurance. I'm just picking a direction and going. Alright, Stone Tank wants to go this way. I'm following Stone Tank. He's got Decimator, which sounds cool. Rebirth has Guardians, buff debuff defense, thing is described as streamlined Kheldians. Yeah, they just sound like they can do a little everything. Their inherent's called Resolve, and there's no documentation. Of course there's no documentation. Most important thing, let people know what you give them if they play on your server, and we can't provide updated documentation. That's like, oh, shoot, she's gonna die. Ah! Lady, you're a kin. Let me pick up the aggro first before you go doing fulcrum shift or whatever. But that's like, that reminds me, I think you're the one that told me about the rogue contact or whatever that's in Independence Port. And it's like, it's not on the IP wiki. Like, how would anybody have ever learned about this mysterious contact if it's not on the wiki? On the page to tell you where to go. When an enemy is defeated, they will grant nearby guardians or allies a stack of... Oh, F that! Dude, stack mechanics are silly. Sorry. They're not silly. I'm kind of like over them after beast summoning had them. And it's just like, I don't know why these exist here. Has absorption and status protection to a bunch of statuses. That's pretty cool, though. So the more splattering you do, the tougher you get, which is nice. Wow, Paragon Titan got annihilated. It's a big burst of exotic damage. This Stone Tanker's doing great. For the bed. Well, thanks for hanging out, Linax909K, and thanks for coming over with the raid. Guys, let me tank this one. I got this. She can't hurt me. Be a lot easier if she wasn't a +4 AV, but you know what? We're making it work. This just feels like fighting an AV in Peregrine Island way back in the day, where we're all like, oh, we don't actually seem to be hurting the AV any, and it's like, yeah. God, she's healing off of everybody. All right. Start throwing daggers. Maybe I take one more heal out of it. It'll be okay. You know, guys, she's healing off of you, right? I hope they know she's healing off of them. At least being spines, I could stop being in melee, so that's pretty cool. Alien fighter. I like the sound of that. Oh boy. And mission's already called in, okay. Well, outside of the AV fight, we just steamrolled that whole thing like it was nothing, like it was nada, like it was zitch, zippo, something like that. I can't even English anymore because I have been up for too long and I am too tired. So I think this is the point in time where I go find somebody to raid. If there's even anybody left playing City Heroes. We'll take a look here.